This is Terrence Andre Banks with Information Age Financial Solutions coming to you with an article I found from ibtimes.com, and it goes into the apocalypse of not real estate. Well, in some cases it is real estate, but it's the retail bankruptcy 2020, and they gave a complete list of bankrupt retailers. It's definitely something to pay attention to. As I mentioned in past videos, that the retail section employs a lot of people, and when you have such closing like this, even though everything's moving online, it just shows them how many people, why the state that we're in, and why some people the food lines are so long and different things of that nature. Let's go dive right in. I'm going to put a link inside the description. This year has been a challenging one for retailers. Not only have they been faced with a number of store closures, but many companies were also burdened with financial difficulties caused by the coronavirus pandemic. Many retailers faced temporary shutdowns as states enacted lockdowns required non-essential business to close. The cost of the shutdowns, coupled with the downturn that several retailers were already facing as consumers made the shift to online shopping, forced several companies into bankruptcy to survive. As 2020 comes to a close, here's a look at the retailers that turn towards bankruptcy this year as a result of the pandemic. Now, probably these things are something you already know, but some of them, bring my attention that I didn't even know about, which would seem hard because I've done a number of videos, which would seem unlikely, I should say, because I've done a number of videos about the closures, but again, some that will still cop the list that you wouldn't think about. And these are some well-known brands too. Actually brands that you think that would have a little bit more of a financial nest egg to cover some of these things, at least where they're storm out, especially because every company is usually have some form of market in terms of on the internet, and it's not just Amazon just beating everyone out. It's just that there's every business should have some online presence, especially if they're selling clothing and other apparel. So the first one comes to the list is Ascena Retail Group. In July, Ascena Retail Group, the parent company of Ann Taylor, filed for bankruptcy, saying at the time that it would close a number of stores because of the impact of the pandemic. Following its bankruptcy announcement, Ascena closed all of its Justice and Catharines location, and a select number of Ann Taylor, Loft, Blaine Bryant, and Lou and Greg stores. Capping was sold to Full Beauty Brands for $40.8 million in November. Brooks Brothers. Man, it's just Brooks Brothers was quality suits and stuff like that, and they've been around for a long time. They gave you so see that straight in there. What else we got here? Got a lot of advertisements. So. Close this one down here. All right, so you got a view of the Brooks Brothers storefront closed. I got another advertising. The oldest retailer in America, Brooks Brothers, announced its bankruptcy filing in July as all of its stores will close in March. Brooks Brothers has been around a while. They just said this, the oldest retailer. The retailer's offers as casual apparel fell out of fashion with consumers as Americans shifted to leisure wear as they work from home during coronavirus. Brooks Brothers reduced the store count, but eventually found a buyer in Authentic Brand Groups and Spark Group, backed by mall owner Simon Property Group, which kept at least 125 stores open. The deal was valued at $325 million. CB&L Associates and Preet, compounded by the loss, closure, and shutting of anchor retail such as JCPenney and Macy's Mall, C&B&L and Associates and Pennsylvania Real Estate Investment Trust, Preet, filed for Chapter Protection in November, citing the pandemic and the consumer shift to online shopping. When I see that, every place has an online shopping space. That's not the reason why. Francesca's. On December 4th, Francesca announced that it was filing for Chapter 11, adding that it will continue to close 140 stores that it previously announced in November while keeping its 558 remaining locations operating. The apparel retail said it had pursued a sale of its assets with investment Terramar Capital, an auction expected to take place no later than January 15, 2021. Now, I'm not denying that things move to the online space, but these places that sold clothing, they did have an online presence. That's all I'm stating. GNC, which I've probably talked about there, they've been around for a while. Help retail GNC filed for Chapter 11 in June, announced at that time they will close as many as 1,200 stores. The company said that it was unable to refinance its debt load under what was caused by the dramatic negative impact of the pandemic. GNC secured a sale of its business to its largest shareholder, Harbin Pharmaceutical Group Holding Company, for $760 million. Guitar Center. Wow. Music industry retailer Guitar Center was one of the most recent retailers to succumb to bankruptcy filing for Chapter 11 in November. The retailer attributed its falter to the pandemic, as much lovers stopped buying instruments due to rising unemployment rates and shutdowns. However, the company said it will keep its almost 300 stores open during its restructuring process. Okay. J. Crew. J. Crew was an early filer for bankruptcy. Now it's restructuring in May. The retailer saw its sales drop as all of its stores were temporarily closed because of the shutdown of non-essential business, which compounded it with its heavy debt load, forced the company into bankruptcy. A lot of these companies have large debt loads. JCPenney, talked about that before, so we need to talk about that one anymore. Lucky Brand. Lucky Brand dungarees joined the growing group of retailers that filed for bankruptcy protection in July, closing 13 unprofitable stores at the time. The company cited the impact of the coronavirus pandemic as the reason for its demise, but soon found a buyer in the mall operator Simon Property took an Authentic Brand Group's a $140.1 million deal, according to CNBC. Odell Sporting Goods filed for Chapter 11. I think I mentioned them before. Sporting Goods began the restructuring process amid an extremely challenging environment for retailer CEO Mitchell Odell said in the statement. Muji, limitless home good retailer Muji USA filed for bankruptcy in July amid the pandemic, citing sluggish sales and store shutdowns forced by the coronavirus outbreak. Owned by parent company Rohan Kikoku, Neiman Marcus, this is a big name brand, was one of the first retailers to announce that it was filing for bankruptcy protection during the pandemic. The department store retailer released the news in May, saying at the time that it was looking to eliminate 2/3 of its $4 billion debt load. The coronavirus placed an inexorable pressure on the Neiman Marcus business, which is making solid progress on profitability and growth prior to the pandemic. Okay. Pier 1 still filed for bankruptcy. I talked about Pier 1 before. Also filed bankruptcy in 2020, but before the coronavirus pandemic took hold, the home goods retailer made the announcement in February, stating that it was closing over 400 stores, nearly half of its closed store fleet, as well as 2 distribution centers. The company eventually found a buyer for its online business and retail e-commerce ventures for $20 million in July. RTW Retail wins. The coronavirus also claimed RTW Retail wins, the parent company for New York & Company, Fashion to Figure, and Happy X Nature, which filed for Chapter 11 in July. The company said it would close a significant portion, if not all of its stores at the time, as it explored its financial options. Stage Stores, the parent company of Gordman's, Goodies, Beals, Palace Royal, Peoples, and Stage Retail Stores filed for bankruptcy protection in May. The retailer said that it would liquidate its stores if it couldn't find a buyer. The company has about 557 stores in its portfolio. So the company had exhausted every possible alternative. Kind of paraphrasing that. Steinmart, another one. Steinmart, they went in filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in August, closing all of its 281 stores. The company also said the pandemic was the cause of its demise, but a bright spot soon emerged for the retailer. Steinmart was purchased in a bankruptcy auction for $6.2 million by retail e-commerce ventures, which said it would bring the retailer as an online store next year. Okay, that's something. Sur La Table. Sur La Table also filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in July under the weight of the coronavirus. The kitchen goods and cooking retail announced at the time that it closed 51 to 121 stores and restructured. The company was bought by Marquee Brands and CGS Generation for $88.9 million, a joint venture deal, according to Retail Dive. Tuesday Morning, off-price home good retailer. It's got missing here. And made filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in May, saying that the coronavirus pandemic put an immense strain on its business. The company announced that it would close about 230 of its 687 stores in the restructure process so that it could focus its attention on its better performing stores. The company also closed the Phoenix-based distribution center. All right. I think that tops the list of the 2020 retail apocalypse. Again, even when you even if there's only 20 here, these other companies, when you read inside the lines a little bit more of the paragraphs, it's other companies that's affected as well. They kind of put those in. I'm going to put a link inside the description. Definitely an article worth paying attention to, especially if you work in the retail space. This is affecting, the lasting effects of this still have not been seen, even though because these things take a process, and then as you close the stores and someone trying to keep them open, they'll try to hold out as long as they possibly can. But these means, again, job losses in retail is such a large source of employment. If this video has been any value to you, please subscribe, leave some comments, hit the like button. Until my next video, I'm out.